It's Brian Preston, the money guy.
When do you need a financial advisor?
Yeah, so obviously we mentioned right at the onset of the show, we as financial advisors are of the opinion not everyone needs a financial advisor. We think there are actually points in time when it makes sense for you to cross that threshold to seeking professional guidance.
Yeah, so let's quickly kind of go through these, because I know that we talk about this is that there's going to be some life and efficiency considerations that you ought to look at. I've heard you do this several times, Bo. What do you tell people on when you might want to consider hiring a financial advisor?
I think generally it can boil down to sort of three things. One, the gravity of your decisions is so great, you don't want to go at it alone anymore. If you make a big mistake on $5,000, you haven't really hurt yourself that much. If you make a big mistake on $500,000, now you're starting to talk about something really significant. Yeah. So the gravity of your decisions is large. Number two, there's just not enough time in the day with social commitments and community commitments and work and family and all these other things pulling on you. All your finances just fall to the back burner and you don't have time to get it back on the front burner. Mm-hmm. And then the third thing is, as we get older and as our financial situation advances, it just tends to get more complicated. Things are just, we don't know what we don't know.
You want to keep it out of the ditch.
We want to keep it out of the ditch.
And then I'll put a fourth one out there that we've seen recently. These are people who are spectacular and probably in another life could have been financial advisors. I'm talking about my engineers, my pilots. I mean, I'm trying to think of our clients that I've been like so impressed with. I have a brand new client that's out of the medical field.
I was about to say doctors.
That's just brilliant. And it's one of those things that they're now, we're picking up a new breed of clients where they're so good, but they're worried when they can't speak for themselves anymore. They want to make sure their significant other's not getting ripped off.
That's
so they try to find somebody who thinks and acts like they do to be that backup plan. So we're even picking up high-level people that do a great job themselves but want to have a backstop in case they can't speak to keep the family enterprise going. So it's powerful. I want to throw one more thing out there. You hear us talk a lot about if people don't have $400,000 or $500,000, you're like, well, what do they do? Mm-hmm. We love target retirement funds. We love, the low-cost options at a lot of the robos, the target retirement funds. But the question is, can you outgrow a target retirement fund? And Bo, we found that there are some points where you do outgrow it. When do those times kind of happen?
Yeah, when your assets reach a certain size, you can take advantage of things like asset location, not just how you spread the assets, but the type of accounts you hold. You can take advantage of things like tax loss harvesting, capital gain avoidance strategies. You can look at charitable giving of appreciated securities. There are just ways where we feel your financial situation, your portfolio, graduate beyond the solution that a target retirement fund is for you.
So I think I just heard you. Tax location matters, loss harvesting matters. You're probably going to get creative with some charitable giving if you have some legacy plans. And then don't forget about, just as you get bigger, more diversification or just customized choices on the investment options. So that's also a great segue into what's the difference? Because this is something, if you want to know, you were talking about how you get annoyed. A pet peeve is when people say that they don't pay the commission that the insurance company does. My pet peeve is when people don't understand the difference between a financial planner versus an investment manager.
Oh, yeah.
Because I will tell you, because here's the question. Difference between financial planning and investment management. And I'll tell you what sets this up, Bo, is that there's a new breed. I love the competition that is being created within the investment marketplace. We have zero trading fees. We have internal expenses that are slapping around near zero.
Some even
on index
at zero
funds.
now.
Yeah, and so index funds, everything, it's been great. And an area that has recently come about is, well, if we can do this with the investments, can we do this with financial planning? So you've seen robo-advisors come on the scene like Betterment, and then every one of the big boys has a platform. You have Vanguard, Schwab, Fidelity. They call it financial planning, but it's really investment management platforms. Right. And so let's walk them through what the differences are there.
Yeah, so the big thing, like you can see a robo now that might do some loss harvesting, or it might look at asset location, or it might even help you with allocation decisions. But in our purview, that's really all underneath that investment management umbrella. And we think to do a good job of doing a full picture financial plan, looking at the entire circumstance, investment planning is a piece, it's an important piece, but it's not the whole piece. It's just one piece of the puzzle. You have to understand how the investment portfolio matches with the estate plan and matches with your tax situation, and your insurance and risk management are covered. If you don't have someone who's looking at all of those pieces and they're just looking at one account or one piece of your portfolio, I'd argue they're not really doing financial planning. They're doing investment management.
Yeah, I mean, I think a big clue is if your financial advisor, say you can go with any of the big ones, Fidelity, Schwab, Vanguard, and we hear from, the reason I know that I'm speaking right is because we have several of you work at Vanguard or Fidelity, these things, and you kind of whisper to us that you listen to the show. And you're like, gosh, I always tell people, because I have somebody who has a question about property and casualty, or I have a person that has a question about their 401k, but since their 401k is not with us, and I was like, we can't help them because we only can work within what's right before us at the custodian we work for.
Yep.
That's not financial planning, because there's so much. There's estate planning, retirement planning. There's all this type of analysis that needs to go that's a way above and beyond. So that's why when people find out we push a lot of index funds, they're like, what are people paying you for? I'm like, investing has become commoditized, guys.
Exactly
You
right.
got to understand. You better be doing more than that so that we can make sure that people understand they're in a great financial situation for the long term.